Well, I'm high and I'm tired, and it's 1:51 a.m. and I'm wearing my stupid fucking hat, which is either a trilby or a fedora, depending on who you ask. And I think it's probably technically a trilby, but everyone calls it a fedora, including me. So whatever. You know, words change, deal with it. Anyway, fuck all that rambling noise. Let's answer some questions. Okay, enough of that. Do you still believe cannibalism, polygamy, and incest is fine and should be allowed once it's consensual, or have you had any new thoughts on the matter? I have a morality that is based upon consent. That is the primary focus of my moral code. So I think that, yeah, those things are permissible if consent is present. Let's go through them one by one here. Cannibalism. How many people are really going to consent to, an act of cannibalism? It's happened before. It happened in Germany. Probably happened other times. But it's a very rare thing. It's not like if we say that consensual cannibalism is morally permissible, everyone's going to be getting eaten tomorrow. I think that's the problem is people view what other people do amongst themselves as somehow a threat to them. Like, if we let these two dudes in Germany do this weird, kinky cannibal shit, the next thing we know, our kids are going to be fucking eating each other. And it's like this big, scary, slippery slope where it infects society. It's not going to do that. I don't know. Who do you think you're protecting? You're going to protect people from their own fucking desires? It's ridiculous. Polygamy. I don't even know why polygamy is controversial. Consenting adults, I would think if the argument works for gay people, it should work for polygamists. If you want to have multiple partners, the fuck business is that of mine? If you want to have, a harem of like 50 different women or men or whatever, It doesn't hurt me. The only thing that hurts me is like, well, that dude's hogging everybody. And that's kind of a drag, but whatever. If they want to be with you, you want to be with them, what the fuck business is it of mine? And what the fuck business is it of the government's? What the fuck business is it of anyone but the people involved? That's all I'm saying. Incest. I would also say that as long as it doesn't produce offspring, actually the risk of birth defects is higher among incestuous couples, but it's not so high that it's like guaranteed to happen. It's not even likely to happen. It's just more likely to happen. But still, they probably shouldn't have kids. And this is another thing, like, there's not really, even people who fantasize about incest usually fantasize about, like, some other brother and sister somewhere doing something, Most people, when it comes to their own family, are kind of just like, ugh, even if they kind of, like, find that idea sexual. Most people are not going to have the guts to go through with it, and especially not two people in the same family. But it happens. It already happens. We have laws against it, and it fucking happens. So let's just get rid of the laws. Who the fuck are we protecting here? Who the fuck is being saved by having some stupid law that says that people can't do what they want to do with their own fucking lives? My opinion is, if you want to fucking do some weird shit that other people don't approve of, it's America. That's what this country should be for. Leave me the fuck alone. If I want to do my crazy shit over here, don't come over here. And, if unless someone is being coerced against their will to do something, it's none of your business. If people are being coerced against their will to do something, then I think it's the responsibility of everyone to stand up against that, because that sort of tyranny represents a threat to all of us. And it undermines the value of being an individual. So let's put individuality first. TJ, what do you think of white Americans becoming a minority soon? Who gives a shit? Seriously. I don't even care. It's not even on my fucking radar. The only thing that I could say about it is that I don't fucking care for most white people. I don't care for all these people that just want to live out their lives in the fucking country, insulated away from everything, and just cloistered away from society, yet always presiding over it and trying to judge it by voting for these fucking Republican cunt bags and trying to maintain some sort of traditional power structure of we're going to have these good Christian values. And fuck you. No one wants your good Christian values. Just shove that shit up your fucking ass and just die, because it's all these old fucks. It's all these old white fucks living out in the countryside. And they think that they're gonna fucking take over America again. No, you're not taking over America again. You suck. We hate you. Fuck off and die already. Kind of went off on a tangent there. Sorry. If you saw Venom Fang X in person, like walking down the street in your town or something, would you approach him or avoid eye contact and hope he doesn't approach you? I don't give a fuck about Venom Fang X. I mean, if I saw Venom Fang X on the street, maybe I'd take a look and be like, oh, hey, it's Venom Fang X. That's weird. And I'd go about my fucking day. I might talk about it a few times. I might say, that's so weird how we saw fucking Venom Fang X. Maybe I should have said something to him. Nah. Why bother? Who gives a shit? I don't care about Venom Fang X. No one cares about Venom Fang X. Venom Fang X is like, what is this? 2009? Venom Fang X, for all I give a shit, he's dead. I mean, I know he's not dead. He's got a YouTube channel where he's still posting stuff occasionally, I guess. But for all intents and purposes, as much as he matters to me, he might as well be fucking dead. 25 thumbs up for that question. 25 people. What would you do if you saw Venom Fang X on the street? What do you think I'd do? What the fuck do you think I'd do? Like, I'm gonna fucking grab him by his hair and shove him onto his knees and piss down his throat or something? Like, fuck you, Christian piece of shit! Is that the kind of answer you're looking for with this? I don't know. I can give it to you. Hope it's not too late for a question, but I remember recently you came out as bisexual. Have you ever had sex or sexual experience with a man, and did you enjoy it? If so, would you talk about him for us, please? Also, 25 fucking thumbs up. I didn't recently come out as bisexual. I've been out as bisexual for quite some time. Maybe I was a little more reluctant to discuss it on YouTube as opposed to on Tumblr, because there's so many misconceptions about bisexual males out there. The biggest one being, you don't even exist. You know, you're just a closet faggot who doesn't want to admit that he hates pussy. Or you're just a straight guy looking for attention. You know, I assure you that's not true. Anyone who has the URL to my porn blog, which I don't give out to everybody, I give it out to people who I like and who are fellow kinky, perverted, twisted, evil people like myself. I'll give it to them, sure. But if you could see it, you would see that I am every bit as interested in men as I am in women. As for my sexual experiences with men, I admit they're pretty fucking limited. And I think it's because I'm too much of a chick for gay dudes. Like, every time I try to get into that, it's like, want some dick? Want some dick? It's like, could I just maybe get to know you a little better first? It's like, I don't have time for that shit. So I don't know. I've had that problem where it's like I kind of have this gradient of comfort and you know, it's just like they just want to blast through. Like, yeah, come on, all right, you want it, I want it, let's go. It's like, it's not that simple for me. There's things in my head. There's things that prevent me from acting that impulsively. Hentai, yes or no? Yes. TJ, will you ever bring back a intro? That should be an intro. What are you, some kind of fucking moron? I'm just fucking with you. It's all right. It's all right. You're okay. TJ, will you ever bring back an intro to your videos? I have no plans to do that, but it certainly could happen. There's no reason why it couldn't happen. Atheists are all fags. Cool. Good to know. Should I kill myself? If you don't answer, I will let the magic 8-ball decide. Reply hazy. Try again. What's your favorite book and author? My favorite book is probably... You know, I used to say that it was Catcher in the Rye, but I would have to say that it's the complete Calvin and Hobbes. And if you want to say that doesn't count as a book because it's a cartoon strip, you're free to have that opinion. As for my favorite author, as cliche as it may be, I know I should have some sort of like pretentious author that no one's ever heard of as my favorite author so that I can sound so sophisticated and well-read. But the fact of the matter is, I dig Stephen King. Yep. When did you get your first computer and when did you have contact to the interwebs? You know, I don't, you know, asking me when is like asking a fish to describe the desert. He doesn't know. He's never fucking seen it. I've never seen when. For me, the past is just a jumble of shit that may have happened. And I think of... Like, I have trouble... If there's a time scale, I can't place events on a time scale with any sort of accuracy. It's just messed up in my brain. And... So I don't know exactly when I got a computer. I know that I had one by the time I hit puberty because I looked at a lot of internet porn. And I say a lot, but really I probably looked at less in a day than I do now in 5 minutes because porn then loaded like this. That's a JPEG. And sometimes, okay, first, yeah, and that was before that, you had to wait for the thumbnails on the fucking page to load, you know? Well, First, you had to wait for the fucking thing to connect. And back then, everyone had, like, fucking AOL and shit. And you had to listen to that fucking retarded litany of noises. Like... Just every fucking wacky sound in existence to connect to the internet. And then once you were connected, you had to fucking go search for your porn page, and you'd figure out where a few of them were. And you go there, and you wait for the page to load. That takes fucking forever. And you wait for all the little thumbnails to load, and that takes fucking forever. And you find a thumbnail that you think looks good, and then you click on it, and then it's the... And then the picture loads, and you're like, fuck! It doesn't look as good as the thumbnail. Shit! Internet is so much easier now. Now I just scroll past porn, like... You know those old movies where they're searching through, like, old newspapers at the library and have the machine that's just flashing old headlines by them super fast? That's me with porn now. Just, yeah! Titties and ass and dicks and everything. Ah! Just go fucking past me at lightning speed at all times. That's healthy. Salsa or guacamole? Gotta go with salsa, buddy. Although there is some good guac out there. TJ, I'm unsure whether or not I believe in God, in quotation marks. And a lot of things I have read in the Bible I feel is just ridiculous. But I do believe that there is something out there, so what religion would that put me under? Well, you're certainly not a fucking grammar Nazi, so we can eliminate that ideology at least. You know, it just kind of puts you in the realm of, like, the wishy-washy, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, you know, I don't have a religion, but I just think there's, like, something out there, man. You know, I think there's something bigger than us out there, and the universe is so big, there's gotta be something big out there, like something amazing. Some kind of fucking, like, I don't know, 29-headed dragon just controlling the cosmos with the roll of his dice, man. It could be anything, man. You're that guy. You're that fucking retarded asshole. Sorry to break the bad news. Now you have to wait for me to read the next question because I don't have my glasses on. I'm sorry. I wish I did. But I don't. All right, here we go. TJ. They didn't say TJ. Why'd I add TJ? They just said, why is G-Man such an autist? Like autistic. I'm not gonna answer that. That's a little low. G-Man's a nice enough fella. What is your favorite Stanley Kubrick movie and why? Mine is 2001. Now, 2001 is a fine film, and I think that I can agree with you that it is probably among the greatest movies ever made. But is it the best Kubrick film? In my opinion, no. I would say that honor goes to A Clockwork Orange. You know, I know it's the more trendy and popular one, so a lot of people will groan when I say that it's better. They say, oh, Clockwork Orange, so cliche, probably the only Kubrick movie this fucking Philistine has ever seen. No, it's not. But it is the best. I don't know. It just resonates. It resonates with people. Why do you think it's become so popular and iconic? in way. I mean, and 2001 is certainly popular and iconic too, but I think that it's not as instantly recognizable. And not that popularity should be the only measure of success, but I think there's a lot going for it other than just its popularity. It's a very intelligent film. It has an important message. It really challenges a lot of people's moral precepts. And it really gives you a chance to get acquainted with someone that you probably wouldn't want to know in real life, but is, deeply compelling and fascinating as a character study when you have that barrier of this is make-believe. I think it's a tremendous film. It's actually one of the films that really shows off the capabilities of film as a medium. TJ, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I have a problem with the logic you use to dismiss them. E.g., if the Illuminati existed, how would they let you go on exposing them? Because they know it's not a threat. They know if less than 1% believe it, it's not going to affect them. How do you respond to this? Well, I would say that, first of all, it's more than 1% of people who believe in crazy conspiracy theories. I hate to tell you that. There's tons of conspiracy nuts out there. Tons of them. And a lot of people who seem sane still have some sort of conspiracy theory about something. Now you say, the example you use is the Illuminati. If they existed, why would they? I say, if they existed, why would they let people expose them? And you say, because they know it's not a threat. But it would be a threat. If there was actually an organization that controlled global politics and influenced everything, in the media, in civil discourse, they own all the corporations, they run the government. They're just totally in control, just a shadow organization that runs the world. If that really existed, there would be no reason for them to allow any sort of dissent, or even, if anyone who even talked about the Illuminati, just dead. Any fucking mention of it stricken from existence. Wouldn't that make more sense if you have that level of power? Maybe that would just lead people to give it more credibility, you say. But no, I mean, if you control all sources of information, you could make it to where the world doesn't even have mass communications tools like the internet. You control all of that. Because you control all governments, you control all corporations. So if there really was an organization like the Illuminati, I don't see any reason why they would allow any dissent, or even the slightest chance that one day people might start to believe in them and what they do, because that would undermine their entire control structure. So it would be idiocy to do that if you were in the position that they're supposedly in. TJ, how do you make Star Wars Episode 7 good? Make it R-rated. Put Bryan Cranston in it, because he's awesome, and just, I like to see him in things. And put Chris Pratt in it, because I've recently taken a liking to him. And put that Jennifer Lawrence chick in it, because she had those nude photos of her come out today. And just, they're all, just make it R-rated and have tits and ass and, have someone fucking waste an iconic Star Wars character with a blaster to the face, like Han Solo just eating some eggs for breakfast, and, like a bounty hunter just blows up the fucking door And Han looks up and he's like, ah, and he reaches for his blaster and the fucking bounty hunter shoots him in his fucking head. And Han Solo's just fucking dead and Leia comes running out screaming. And maybe he's got like a hot 19, 20-year-old daughter that fucking comes out in her topless, you know, just like wearing some kind of space pants and her tits are hanging out. And like, Dad! And Han's fucking smoke coming out of his face and the bounty hunter's like, too slow, old man. Start it like that. That's the opening scene. And, you know, just take it from there. It writes itself at that point. By the way, did I ever tell you, this is kind of an aside, has nothing to do with any question, but, you know, this Simpsons marathon has been going on FXX, and I've been watching some of it, and I've come up with how they should end The Simpsons. I think that they should just kill every character, like, throughout the net. They should just plan a final season, and every episode they kill more and more major characters until finally the last episode, Springfield is totally abandoned, except for the Simpsons. And they can just sit there and reflect on their strange existence where they've had all of these experiences and yet none of them have aged. And they kind of realize that there's something strange about their world. They realize that, you know, we're stuck in this cycle, you know, and then the whole family, they realizing the meaningless and banality of their existence, realizing that experience has no value when it leads to no lasting change as a human being, and you're always going to be prohibited from any sort of spiritual growth by the hindrance of this television format where it's impossible to grow because you have to remain the same character. Nothing can truly change about you. They realize how horrible and meaningless that is. And the whole family takes cyanide tablets together. And then you pan out from the Simpson house and you pan out to you know, a view of Springfield. And it's just empty and desolate. And then you do a time-lapse montage of the town just crumbling to dust. And then, you know, it says, just on the screen, just in big French-looking letters, Finn. That's how they gotta end it. So, write to Matt Groening about that. I've asked everyone notable, and your last one, I'm not even, when it starts like that, I'm not even proceeding. I can't deal with that. All caps. Aside from bananas, what are some other things you've shoved in your butt? What has been your favorite thing to shove in your butt thus far? I think thus far is one word, isn't it? Let's see. Thus far. Nope, it is 2 words. I was wrong. Okay. So let's see. Bananas, tomatoes, puppies, onions, watermelons, dead rats on the side of the road, giant 2-liter sports drink bottles, my taxes, what else? A lava lamp, a broken, rusty pogo stick that I found on the side of the road. I don't have any more fingers, so I guess I don't have to keep going. No, I mean, I've aside from, like, just dildos and butt plugs and anal beads and stuff like that, it's mostly been food. So yeah. And what is my favorite thing that I've shoved up my butt thus far? Probably a particular pair of anal beads. I would show them to you, but I don't think I could do that. Maybe. I don't know. Would you even want to see? Are niggers people too? Thank you so much for asking that question and then surely upvoting it 3 times on your own. Would you record a ridiculously grotesque video of you inserting a banana/other tubular food in your rectum and distribute it to the internet if someone bribed you with $1,000? Pulls out wallet. I don't need to be bribed. I'll do it for fucking free because I'm just a whore. Have you ever seen any of Ralph Bakshi's animated movies? And if so, what do you think of them? I have seen them, and I've found them. I'm sure that there's an audience for them, just not me. You know what I'm saying? It's garbage. It's shit. I fucking hate it. Many times I've heard your brief sexual harassment story, and you always say it took place in an office or previous job or something. Just curious as to what that job was, because I thought you just made videos and probably hate working regular shit. Well, this was pre-YouTube even existing. Fuck. My throat is getting dry. I should have brought a drink with me up here. Anyway, this is pre-YouTube existing, and the job I was working was at a call center, and it was miserable, horrible work. And that's pretty much it. Are you familiar with the satirical religious cartoons of Dark Matter 2525? And if so, what do you think of his content / how often do you watch it? I really enjoy Dark Matter 2525's content. I watch probably... I mean, I'll kind of not watch for a while and then catch up. So, I don't know. Probably I'll sit down every 2 or 3 months and see what's new. All right, mate. What's the largest amount of wine you've ever drunk in one day? Probably just 2 bottles worth. Yeah. TJ, you glorious man, do you think the solution for overpopulation is to legally force people to have 1 to 2 children? Or do you think there is a better way? I think that people could very easily be convinced not to have children if we simply stopped making it seem like it's some good, noble fucking thing. Because at this point, it's not. It's not a great... having children, maybe some biological component in you is telling you reproduce, 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 reproduce. But we really don't need you to reproduce at this time. If you must do it, just have 1 kid. And, get rid of all these religious traditions that tell people you gotta have, 12 kids. Like all these crazy Catholic fucks that think they can't put a fucking piece of rubber on their dick or God feels betrayed. What was the worst time you were hitting the nuts? Well, it was actually during, a sexual thing, you see. So it was the worst, but also the best, if that makes any sense. My friend said it's impossible to have a god because of evaporation. Please break down how much of a dumbass he is. I don't even understand that question. He says there's... I wish, did you not get any further explanation about that? Because I just don't get it. It's impossible to not have a god because of evaporation. I don't know what to say. That's incorrect. What do you want us to ask you? I want you to ask me about butts and weird, like, old movies or new movies, but nothing too specific because I might not have seen it. But just general questions like, what do you think about Michael Bay remaking the Ninja Turtles movie? But don't ask me what I thought about the Ninja Turtles movie because I didn't see the fucking piece of shit because it looked goddamn awful. But ask me what I think about the fact that it happened because I have an opinion on that. And my opinion on that is that that shouldn't have happened because it's fucking horrible. Did I mention it's fucking horrible? It is. What's the biggest thing you've shoved up your butt? Good job, audience. Butt questions galore tonight. I'm proud of you. The biggest thing. Probably, well, it's kind of hard to know because there've been large things, but you know what? If I even explain the physics of this, people are gonna get disgusted and leave the video, so I'm gonna spare you the details. I'm just gonna say an apple. It was not a huge apple, but still. Apples are fairly girthy objects, and they have very little give to them. There will be blood. TJ, what do you think of my profile picture? And can you guess who the picture is of, or at least looks like? Well, it's George W. Bush's face on my body. That's interesting. Kind of selfish of you to ask a question that relies upon people being able to see the picture I'm looking at when you know for a fact that won't be the case. How inconsiderate to the rest of the audience. Timothy Collins, you piece of shit. Let's go to your channel and see how you're doing. Let's see the kind of shit Timothy Collins likes. Ooh, what a interesting URL. It's just youtube.com/channel/capital UCSES lowercase m uppercase WXCZ lowercase WM uppercase D lowercase E SR 9 uppercase Q either an I or an L D 0 or maybe O 3 lowercase v uppercase A. So if anyone was patient enough to try to figure that out, you can go visit his channel and see what I'm seeing, which are all his favorites and all his activities. Sorry, I'm coughing a lot now that my throat's getting dry. Epic soda bottle trick. Who gives a fuck? Black Pink Power Ranger and Black Spider-Man from Black Nerd. Gee, are they black? Blackity black, blackest and black. Fuck. Sakura Spirit, Devious Friends, Part 17, Steam Train. I see huge anime boobs in the thumbnail. I'm going to click on the video and see if the thumbnail is misleading. Ah! Shut up. No one wants to hear volume. Disgusting. Steam Train. Okay. Boobs? No, no. No, no. Where's the boobs? Boobs. Okay, so the chick spends the entire video in some kind of goo? I guess there are boobs, but it's not as interesting as I thought it would be. Oh well. Fuck you, Timothy Collins, piece of shit. When will you have Dark Matter and Grappling Ignorance on DP? Well, Dark Matter, I've tried to get him on. I don't know if he's just reluctant to come on or whatever. Grappling Ignorance, I don't know who the fuck that is. When will you play StarCraft 2? Probably never. You mentioned many times that you're very socially anxious. Fuck. You've mentioned many times that you're very socially anxious. How have you managed to make good friends despite this? I don't know. I guess the internet, you know, having a barrier between me and them where I could hide and pretend to be outgoing. That was pretty helpful. Hold on one second. You sons of bitches. Fuck. I'm gonna kill you all. Let's hope this works. Gotta try something. Everybody is dead. Ha ha ha. Hey, Scotty. Can you give me a drink? I'm doing this video. I don't know, just like a tea or something. Bye. Damn right. Scotty's my slave. Anyway. What do you think of Ebola? I don't know. TJ, how would you react in a post-apocalyptic situation similar to Fallout? I don't know. I think that would be very stressful on my particular psyche. I think I'd probably hold up in a fucking abandoned house with a lot of guns, and I would just shoot anyone who came to the door. Just assume that they were bandits who wanted my fucking stuff, even if it was all worthless trash, and I would just shoot them. And then I would drag their bodies in and eat them. And that would be how I subsist in the wastelands of Fallout. Fuck. So hot, and I smoke so much, and I probably have several forms of lung cancer. TJ, oh, I already answered that one. What makes you truly happy? Just obviously big jiggly asses and, you know, other things that are similar to that to me. Which is to say, you know, things that I find sexually intriguing. What outside of that makes me happy? I don't know, fucking sunsets or rainbows. I don't care about none of that. I just want big jiggly ass. I'm sorry. Are you planning to do any porn videos soon? Yes. Fucking whole line of them coming out. Coming your way. What happened between you and Dick Coughlin? You know, nothing happened between us. I mean, there are rumors. Rumors that I don't think I should address here. Have you ever killed anything? Yeah. When I was a kid, killed a frog or two. Then, you know, as I got older, moved on to people. Just kill anyone I didn't like. What is your opinion on Bill Maher and Jon Stewart? And do you agree with their views on morality and their political views? You know, I like them both as comedians. I think I prefer Bill Maher. His style a little more caustic, a little more boundary pushing. Jon Stewart pretty much panders to his crowd. You don't really see him saying anything that's going to challenge that side for the most part.
Guess what? No one gives a fuck.
Good. Bill Maher is a little bit more. You know, he'll say things that don't sit well with his audience, which I admire, because I'll do that too. You know, I don't give a fuck. Stupid ass audience doesn't know as good as my ass, because I'm an amazing fucking atheist, bitch. Bitch, you don't fucking know like I know. But no, I mean, it's good to, you know, because it shows that you're not just following a herd. As for their political views, you know, I mean, I have issues. I agree with them on issues I don't agree with them on. I'm not going to sit here and do some, you know, point-by-point analysis of it. But, you know, suffice to say that if you were familiar enough with my body of work and their bodies of work, then I think you could figure out the differences for your fucking self, for the most part. Do you believe there are better ways for our government to rehabilitate murderers, rapists, and thieves? Thieves. Rather than sending them to prison, were they in a worse environment that breeds worse behavior? So basically, you know, I think there's a better solution than prisons, where people just go and hang out with other criminals and, you know, don't really get rehabilitated in any way, shape, or form. You know, this isn't some kind of fucking big mystery. This isn't some kind of, this isn't some kind of like, gee, you know, we've never tried anything else. We don't know what could work. There are plenty of countries with more progressive legal systems and prison systems than we have. And, you know, step one is stop overcrowding our prisons with people who don't need to fucking be there. Get the fucking non-violent offenders the fuck out of prison. They don't need to be in prison. They don't need to be subsisting on tax dollars just because they do some kind of substance that you don't like. And if they stole money, make them pay it back. If it's armed robbery, sure, they belong there. At least for, you know, whatever period of time. But don't make your prisons some sort of fucking hellish dystopian nightmare. Don't make your prisons a place of total and abject hopelessness. How is that going to rehabilitate anyone? All that is we're going to punish these people for daring to break the rules of society. We need to stop acting like the rules of society are all that great, and we need to be so angry at those who break them. What we basically need to do is put these people in a system that is going to give them hope. A system that's going to not diminish their humanity, but hopefully expand upon it. And you do that by giving them something constructive to do, by giving them living quarters that are reasonable in terms of comfort, by not denying them access to, you know, the sorts of materials that might actually improve their condition. Just, you know, treat them like they're still human beings who have worth, and they're not just pieces of shit that need to be punished because, you know, you think that they broke some all-important fucking rule. You know, the rules exist to keep society functioning smoothly. They don't exist so that you can form some sort of profound emotional attachment to them and get so angry at anyone who breaks them that you just have to see them suffer. That's a shitty mentality, and it's never going to work. What is it that you look forward to? The future. I tend to look forward to events in the future that I'm anticipating. How was your first kiss? It was very cigarette-y, but not on my part yet. What would you say to Marilyn Manson if you had the chance to meet him? Also, do you believe good and evil really exist, or are they simply moral/social constructs/concepts, or perhaps both? Thanks. Both. I resent this weird idea that people get that just because something is a social construct, it doesn't exist. Of course it exists. Why? I mean, you couldn't refer to it as if it didn't exist. It describes certain phenomena. Now, we might disagree on what phenomena it describes, but we all have, good is actions that we find to be acceptable or beyond acceptable, actions that we find to be admirable, actions that we find to be something worth encouraging, something that is good. Actions that are bad or evil are things that we want to discourage, things that we don't approve of, things that we think are reprehensible. And we might disagree on what stuff belongs on which side of the line between good and evil, or the gradient between good and evil, or however you view it. The gradient of good to evil, I should say. I don't think that, but I mean, obviously they don't exist in any sort of objective sense. I know that it's become a popular idea that they do. I don't believe that they do. I don't think that there are answers to the questions of what is good and what is evil. But there certainly is such a thing as good and evil. But we have to change the way we think about subjectivity. We have to think about what it really means to not have tangibility for a concept, to not have some, if I'm talking about a pear, I can always hold a pear and look at it and feel its physical shape and see that it exists in the world and show it to others who can corroborate its existence. But if I say this pear is delicious, plenty of people are going to disagree with that. Plenty of people say, I don't really like it, or, I like the taste okay, but just there's something weird about the texture. It's kind of grainy in my mouth. I don't know. I just don't care for it. So there's these two different levels of things that people can experience. There's the objective reality that we can corroborate, that we can mutually experience, and then there's the subjective reality that can only be experienced by others who share our perspective for some reason or another. Like, if I think pears taste like shit and you think pears taste like shit, then we can come to some consensus. Pears taste like shit, and that's real for us. But if someone thinks pears taste great and they're hanging out with someone else that thinks pears taste great, then that's the reality for them. They live in a reality where pears taste good. We live in a reality where pears taste like shit, but we're living in the same reality. And people are tempted to just dismiss that problem, or not necessarily problem. They're willing to dismiss that fact by just saying, oh, well, anything that's subjective doesn't exist. But you forget that subjectivity can still be corroborated between people. It just depends on the opinion of the person you're talking to. And that's how it is with morality. Certain people can corroborate certain morals with one another. They have a sense of, I think that being gay is wrong. Well, I think being gay is wrong too. We get together and, we hate gay people, but let's secretly have gay sex. This really probably deserves some sort of well-thought-out essay video, not just like a rambling attempt to try to pin down what I'm saying in an answer video. Oh, and as for the Marilyn Manson question, I have a policy of never meeting my heroes. In which country would you prefer to live? Slovakia or the Czech Republic, and why? I would probably choose the Czech Republic because my ancestors were from the part of Czechoslovakia that is now the Czech Republic. They're not from the part that is now Slovakia. So I would choose the Czech Republic just because it would be a return to my ancestral homeland. And that would be pretty neat. Although I know nothing about either of those countries because I'm an ignorant American fuck. Butt question. All right. What is the worst type of butt you have seen / can think of? Sorry if the question is a bit shit. No, the question is okay. I can tell you all about the worst butt I ever saw, but at first I have to kind of tell you about the person. There was a woman. Her name, I'll give her a fake name just for generosity's sake. Her name was Maggie. Kind of an homage to The Simpsons. Actually, I don't want to think of Maggie as being this person, so we'll say Angie. Her name was Angie. And she was in her 50s, and she was a heavy smoker for her entire life, and a heavy pill user, and a heavy drug user, and probably a heavy alcohol user for all I know. Also a devout Mormon. I guess not too devout if she's doing that many drugs, but a Mormon. And she had she had skin made of like rough sandpaper and very wrinkly and very mean looking face. Just like a face that always was glaring like it smelled shit. Like, she was a mean old bitch, too. It's not like she looked mean and ugly, but really inside she was nice. She looked mean and ugly, and she acted mean and fucking ugly to everyone. And one day, through a series of events that's not really interesting enough to describe, I had the opportunity to check out her ass in a swimsuit. And I had always thought to myself, the ass is the last thing to go. People have told me that she was actually attractive when she was younger. Maybe the ass is still good. But, I told myself that. I knew it wasn't true. But I had to know. I knew, but I had to really know. I had that sense of conviction in my head, but I knew it was bullshit, and I had to really know. I had to stare at that ass. I had to look at it. I had to see if it was any fucking good. And so I looked. And it was like the scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark where the Nazis start melting and tearing their flesh out of their faces and their eyeballs just turn to goop in their fucking skulls. It was that bad. I don't know how to describe her ass, but it didn't belong on a human being. Just no. Fuck no. TJ, how the fuck are you so tall? Was it because of your childhood diet or your sleep schedule as a teenager? Please don't say it's genetic. Surely there must be some other factors that were in it. No, it was genetic, you fucking idiot. It has nothing to do with any of that bullshit. I mean, maybe the diet helped a little, but I don't think so, because all I fucking ate was like candy and shit. At least that's all I remember eating. So no, it wasn't no diet. It wasn't my sleep schedule. It was the fact that I was born big and I was always tall. I was tall when I was a little fucking kid. I towered over the other 2-year-olds. I towered over the other 3-year-olds. I towered over the other 4-year-olds. I towered over the other 5-year-olds, etc., etc., etc. I've always been tall. It is genetic. I know that you're probably sad to hear that because you're surely some short fuck, but you're just going to have to deal with being a short fuck. I'm sorry. It's the hand you were dealt. Would you take Tim up your ass if he asked for it? Yes. Jesus. Did I not throw that out a million times already? When is Scotty going to move out? You should kick him out. I already kicked him out. Now he just lives in the dumpster out back. It's fine now. Would you ever put grapes up your ass? Those would just, they'd pop before you could possibly. I mean, maybe if you had an anal spreader and you just were tossing them in there, but you're not going to get anything out of that. It's just like, okay, whatever. Who is your favorite YouTuber and why? Cheers. You're looking at him, bitch. Amazing Atheist, TJ. Me. I'm the best. The best aside from me, I don't know. I like Paul's Ego, even though he only makes a video every 20 years, and it's just a webcam video like the one I'm making now, but with an even worse webcam. Despite that fact, he's more entertaining than most of the fucks that are on top, who just, you know, they don't really do anything that creative or interesting in my opinion. But whatever, I'm just a bitter fuck in the middle. Or the upper middle, I don't know, the lower top, whatever. Wherever I am. Do you think that too much energy is spent on converting the religious to atheism? Keep in mind that this is not a slight against atheism. To me, there are many shades of secular... Oh my god, this is long. Just no. Sorry, too long. Too long. Keep it brief. Keep it brief. There's another long one. Let's see. No. Maybe. Alright, we're gonna skip that one. If you and the vigilant Christian Mario were at a bar hitting on the same girl, who would take her home? And someone wrote Ben and got 3 thumbs up. If me and the vigilant Christian Mario were hitting on a girl at a bar and who would take her home, obviously whichever one she was more impressed with. I think chances are neither of us would, though, because I mean most of trying to just like I mean what I'm saying is that you never have any sort of guarantee of success when you just approach some new person. Most of that ends in failure. So chances are both of us would be walking away. But, you know, if she chose him, that would be fine. I would run them down in the parking lot in my car. And they'd be dead. And their guts would be all over the pavement. But that'd be fine, you know? Because, you know, she made her choice. He made his choice. They chose to die. They didn't know they were choosing to die, but they were when they fucking crossed me. Oh, yeah. I'm all hopped up on tea. Don't fuck with me, motherfuckers. This tea makes me crazy. Crazy tea. Crazy TJ. Oh. All right. TJ. Did your parents ever bother you constantly to be a Christian after coming out as an atheist? If so, give details. Thanks. You know, it was... My mom had this big emotional display, like, I failed as a parent. And then she almost never mentioned it again. So apparently she got it out of her system pretty quickly. Do you believe in objective truth? I think I already answered that, or tried to, in a giant rambling mess of gibberish. Have you thanked 4chan yet for those great leaks? I don't really think 4chan is to be credited there. Maybe they're credited with the distribution, but certainly not with the actual leaking. Does penis size matter? Sure, of course. I have a small penis. It's not as incredibly small as some people seem to think it is. I get a lot of people writing me like, what's it like to have a micro penis? Because they've seen it soft in these videos. They don't realize that it gets a lot bigger, When it gets hard, it's about, 15, 16 inches, it matters depending on who you're with and how they feel about it and how important it is to them. If you have a small penis and you're with someone who likes larger penises and to whom that is a very important factor, then of course it matters. If you're with someone who maybe doesn't like to be, to have some massive fucking thing shoved in them, and there are plenty who don't, then, maybe having a small or medium-sized penis really isn't so bad, especially if, you know a few tricks to compensate. Or maybe you don't even need to compensate because maybe they're so fucking tight that it doesn't matter. They like it how it is. And you'll find all sorts of different reactions to all sorts of different sizes. I mean, a lot of guys with huge fucking cocks are like the worst ones off, apparently. Like, you go to the Reddit board for the guys with big cocks, and all they do is bitch and whine about all the girls that turn them down when they find out how big their dicks are, because they're just like, I don't even want to fuck something like that. That's just horrible. I don't. That would destroy me inside. That would be like every time I fuck, it would be like giving birth. Get out of here with that fucking elephant man junk. So, in a lot of ways, those guys have it the worst. Not us guys with the small penises. It's actually the big penis guys who... I want a big cock. Both for myself and also in my presence. Either one would do. Yeah. Dearest TJ, what do you think of female movie star hackings, aka the fappening? I didn't really pay much attention to that. I saw the Jennifer Lawrence nude pictures, and I was kind of surprised that she has a decent ass. Not the biggest, but, it's okay. And her body's nice, I guess. I mean, she looks like 10,000 other girls on the fucking internet. But, I mean, I guess that because she's been in some movies first, it's special to some people, but I never really saw any of her movies. But, she had a nice body, and I looked at it. A lot of people looked at it. I didn't seek it out. It was just a bunch of people were posting it on Twitter. It was, like, pretty much impossible to avoid if you were on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, I looked, and I thought she was cute. I feel bad for her, to have that leaked out, where, strange perverts like me can look at her and ogle her and judge her. That must be very uncomfortable. I mean, I don't have to imagine that it's very uncomfortable, because, I mean, I've been in the situation. I'm a little bit thicker skinned, I think, than most people when it comes to that, because I just kind of laughed it off. Part of me even enjoys that it's paid so much attention to, because, I get kind of a, what's the opposite of voyeurism? Not the opposite, but the flip side. Exhibitionism. I'm kind of an exhibitionist on some level. I mean, go figure, an attention whore like me. So, I mean, I was kind of fascinated with it, because I had that personal connection. And, but I feel bad for her, and, but shit happens, and, it's really not a big deal. It kind of depends on your perspective, though. Like, to me, it's no big deal, but maybe to her it is a big deal. And I don't know. I really don't know how to deal with a situation like that. Because on one hand, I looked at the photos, I enjoyed the photos. I'm not above sitting here and talking about her ass and her tits and her pussy. But on the other hand, I kind of respect her autonomy, and I don't like the fact that this was done against her will, and that kind of goes against my moral code. And I think that whoever did do it probably should suffer some sort of punishment, but I kind of know that at the same time it'll be a disproportionate punishment, and they'll just send him to some horrible prison that he doesn't really deserve, or I guess it could be a she. And, you know, they're just going to go rot in a fucking jail cell for, like, you know, maybe fucking as much as 10 years just for, you know, leaking some nude photos of somebody. And it just seems like an absurdly harsh punishment to me. You know, I mean, think about how long 10 years is. Just think about how long the last 10 years of your life have been, and just sit there and, like, you know, just as shitty as those 10 years were, just imagine them being even shittier because you're stuck in fucking jail. And it's all just because you leaked nude photos of some girl? I mean, come on. I mean, her privacy is important, but is it really important enough to send someone to jail for that significant an amount of time? Am I crazy for saying no? Absolutely not. This person just said, the Cross of Lorraine. Okay. Why don't you condemn anti-white racism the way you condemn racism from whites? Even though virtually all nations in the world with white majority have anti-discrimination laws to protect minorities, whilst the same cannot be said for all nations in which people of color form the plurality. I feel anti-racism efforts carry a racial bias in and of themselves against whites. You know, I can't speak for the laws and customs of the world, and really nor can I speak for the laws and customs of this country. And, you know, all I can say is that I actually do believe that you can be racist against white people. I know that that's an idea that seems to be getting less and less popular, with people calling it reverse racism if they acknowledge it at all. And then some people say, oh no, reverse racism doesn't even exist. You can't be racist towards white people. You literally can't be racist against them. Racist, and they say that the reason is because only white people have control of the system of oppression. But racism doesn't have to even... Well, first of all, racism doesn't have to do with oppression. It has to do with the idea that one race is superior to another. Usually, it's the race of the person talking. If you're some kind of black power guy, you're going to think black people are the superior race. If you're a white power guy, you're going to think white people are the superior race. But second of all, black people do control mechanisms of oppression all around this country. There's majority black schools, majority black hospitals, majority black police forces. These things exist in this country. They may not be as common, but they're out there. And I personally have dealt with black cops that I'm pretty sure treated me different because I'm white. You know, they say, oh, well, all cops are just blue, or that, you know, if you have to be an Uncle Tom to be a cop if you're black. But that's not true. There's plenty of cops that are racist against white people. They even had a few years back, they were recording some of the logs from the police cruisers. I don't know if they put the logs in or if they do some kind of recording or whatever, but they had some calls to dispatch and some logs and stuff, and they found that a lot of the black cops were, you know, pulling over white people, like, oh, look at this blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Aryan piece of shit. I'm going to go harass him. You know, like, there were literally things on the record saying that. So that's a black man who's in power and using his power against white people. That is the definition of fucking oppression. Now, is it systemic oppression? Is it everywhere? No. But it kind of depends on what your life is. Like, what about the white kid who's going to a black school who gets treated like shit by his peers because he's the white kid? Are we going to say that's not oppression and racism? I mean, if it's not, then what the fuck is it? And if it's something else other than racism, then wouldn't you at least concede that it's just as bad and warrants the same amount of attention? I would, anyway. Great-looking woman who is a bitch and dumb, or ugly woman who is not a bitch and smart. What would you choose? You know, ugly is subjective, and I would say that a supposedly great-looking woman who is a dumb bitch is probably not going to look that great in my eyes. And a supposedly ugly woman who is sweet and smart is probably going to look good in my eyes. I'm assuming that we're talking about, you know, people who fall within a certain, like, I mean, obviously there are people who are, you know, going to be considered ugly by a vast majority of people. And there are going to be people who are considered pretty by a majority of people. I don't think you can really get a vast majority on beauty, though. But yeah, I mean, it's subjective, though. And I think that you'll find that if you actually start liking, at least I find that if I start liking a person, even things that I considered deficits with their appearance initially kind of become endeared to me. You know, you kind of, you know, find the beauty in that person. And, you know, that's how that works, I think. At least in my case. Most overrated philosopher / thinker. I'm going to piss off libertarians and go with Ayn Rand. I would say that I probably agree with that, actually. Have you ever heard of or are fans of the band Bad Religion? You know, I like Bad Religion. I haven't really listened to too much of their stuff. What do you think of homeschooling? I think in America it's just really 90% of the time an excuse to religiously indoctrinate your children. Is the life of an unhappy but intelligent person superior to the life of a happy but foolish person? I'm not... It's whatever. I mean, that's another subjective thing. I mean, if you want my opinion, then I would say the life of an unhappy but intelligent person is superior to the life of a happy but foolish person. And I could give you some sort of, you know, contrived reason. But the real reason is that I am an unhappy, but I consider myself to be intelligent. But once again, that's up to you to decide. I am an unhappy but intelligent person, and I hate happy but foolish people. So I don't really give a shit when they die. I mean, I do in a general sense. I don't like it when people die, but, you know, I don't resonate with them. I don't connect with them. They're not the kind of person that I'm going to sit down and have a conversation with, because I'm a miserable, curmudgeonly fuck, and they're some morally righteous, morally pure, good-hearted, free-spirited pile of shit that just thinks the world is great. And I can't have that. TJ, what is next in your anal diet? And also, who has been your favorite guest on the Drunken Peasants? Anal diet. You know, why don't you guys put suggestions in the comments of future things that I should shove in my ass, since it's such a fascinating subject to you and to me. I like it. I enjoy it. think I'm kind of winding down here. So, let's get rid of the system of just reading them consequentially, and we'll select a few at random so that the people who weren't on top get a chance. This is always a disaster, because you end up landing on some really stupid questions. Alright. If you could bring back one extinct animal, which one would it be? Now that's an interesting one. I think if I could bring back one extinct animal, it would be the... You know what I really wanted to see? I don't know the exact name of it, but there used to be a really gigantic ape that was just huge. I don't remember the name of it. But I would like to see that again, because I think that seeing like a 20-foot tall gorilla would just be awesome. It would be like King Kong come true. How can you possibly hate the Star Wars prequels? You, sir, have no taste. Come on now. We all know that the prequels suck. In bestiality, such as if a dog fucks a girl and there is no pain involved, wrong? Alright. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch from top comments to newest first. And we're going to answer all the people who only asked their question moments ago. From 1 minute ago was Hobster the 22nd. What did you think of the Warlords of Draenor cinematic? I have no idea what you're talking about. Hey TJ, what is the answer to life and the universe and everything? Isn't it 42? I believe it's 42. How do you propose the U.S. solve its choking death by massive debt? And would you be willing to go to war over it? Would I be willing to go to war over debt? Hell no. How do we solve it? I don't know. It's a good question. Probably something you should ask an economist. Have you heard of Your Movie Sucks / Adam Johnson? What do you think of him? Heard of him? I gave him his fucking start, bitch. His channel was nothing when I found it. And I promoted him. I gave him shout-outs on Facebook. I fucking pushed his shit. I liked his shit. I went and fucking shared it on my social media left and right. He even uses clips from my rant about signs in one of his earliest reviews. He practically just uses my whole fucking review within his review. So yeah, I mean, I've heard of him. Made that bitch. If Satan offered to have sex with you, would you say yes to his big red devilish cock? It's me we're talking about. Yes, yes. Can I have it now? Where is it? I want the big red dick. Long with big red. That's a 90s jingle. Why am I doing that? What end of the universe theory do you subscribe to? Big freeze, big rip, etc. I'm a big rip, but I mean, what scientific theory does this barely educated neckbeard think is correct? It's a meaningless question, really. But I think the big rip makes the most sense to me, personally. That's, of course, the idea that the expansion of the universe will eventually tear the universe completely apart, including the atoms. It'll just start to rip atoms themselves apart. And I guess that will just get torn into little itty-bitty pieces and scattered to the dust of nothingness. Why do you dislike TJ Fucks things? I don't really dislike him. I just find him really annoying because he intentionally acts annoying and he's just weird and flaky. I don't know. Is it too late to ask a question? Apparently not, good sir. Apparently not. But you wasted yours. Hey, TJ. First of all, you're awesome and I love your content. Quit kissing ass. Do you believe that nothing should be prohibited? What is your stance on things that can cause detriment like cigarettes and solariums? Well, I smoke cigarettes, or at least I'm trying to quit, but I mean, I'm, moderately successful in that endeavor. I mean, certain things should be maybe regulated more strictly, but I don't know if anything should really be outright prohibited. All right. We're going to do one more. We're going to do one fucking more. And it doesn't matter. I don't even care how bad it is. If it's a piece of shit, just blame yourselves for being so dumb and asking such dumb questions. Alright, here it is. Are there any famous women who you find funny? I think that Wanda Sykes is pretty funny. I think Lisa Lampanelli is pretty funny. I think that Ellen can be funny in movies sometimes. Not really so much on her show or in her stand-up. I've seen a lot of women be funny, like, famous women be funny in interviews. But then, you don't really see a lot of female comedians. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's a little harder for women to be funny, or they just don't have as much inclination to try to be funny. And I think I kind of know what it is, because my own wife, Holly, is really funny. But she never, like, the things that she thinks of that are funny, she so rarely actually says them. She so rarely actually puts them out there because she thinks that it might upset people, it might offend people. People might think it's obnoxious, but those are all risks you have to take when you're trying to be funny. And she doesn't want to take those because she's too anxious about it. And I don't know if that's something that afflicts a lot of women or afflicts women disproportionately to men, but I've known lots of funny women in my personal life. I've probably known more funny women than men when it comes to just interacting with human beings. Because women tend to have darker and meaner senses of humor, which, totally resonates with me. Whereas men kind of are usually more like, fart jokes and, racist shit. But you don't really see that translated into the entertainment industry for whatever reason. So that's strange. But I don't know. I'd be interested in delving into the reasons for that. I've heard different theories or hypotheses. Haven't really heard one that I felt was like the definitive answer to that question. All right. So that's it, I guess. We can let's try to get to 1 hour and 30 minutes here. If we can find one more real quick. All right. These all suck, you guys. Have you ever heard of the hentai artist Shad Man? If so, what do you think of his work? If not, I highly recommend you look him up. And also, what is your favorite hentai artist? If you don't have a favorite, hell, just tell me what you'd rather have sex with. A tentacle monster, a she-male, or furry animal of your choosing. I would say she-male. I don't really like the term she-male, but since that's what you used, I'll go with that. Followed by tentacle monster, followed by furry animal, as long as it's anthropomorphized to some extent. I don't want to actually have sex with an animal, but if it was like, I don't know, if it was like a furry done right and wasn't like a creepy mascot looking furry, but actually looked like some of the art, then maybe I would do that. Definitely I would. But I have to say maybe on camera, so it doesn't look quite as perverted. As for Shadman, I have heard of him. He actually follows me on Twitter. I follow him as well. If you look at my Tumblr, he'll occasionally like posts on my Tumblr. I've been a fan of his art since before he was big. I remember when Shadman was like an underground thing. Now he's huge. Now, like, even people who are not into a lot of porn artists seem to know who Shadman is. Shadman is God, you know, and he's really an amazing artist. You know, a lot of people criticize some of his anatomy, but it's supposed to be exaggerated. It's his style. And I find it interesting that he's willing to delve into so many different sexual avenues and taboos and create stuff that kind of, you know, he's an artist that makes a lot of people question their sexuality to an extent, because he'll draw like traps and he'll draw, you know, chicks with dicks, and guys who aren't normally into that sort of stuff will be like, well, I'm not normally into this, but this one really appeals to me. And it's because he's tapped into something that's so primal that it knocks down their defenses, and it knocks down the parts of themselves that say, I don't like this, because those parts are bullshit to begin with. It's just, you know, I don't want to like that, so I'm not going to acknowledge that I like that, but when you present it in this way, I kind of find myself liking that. No, it's because you actually do like that, and you're just repressed, and you need to stop being a fucking pussy and knock down those barriers inside yourself. And I think that's a good way to conclude things. I am TJ, better known as The Amazing Atheist. If you're not subscribed to this channel, you should subscribe to it. TJ Does Life.